Good afternoon from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Brendan Dzwierzynski here with you for the ICHABODS Instant Reaction post-game show. Tough afternoon at the office for the ICHABODS, who are swept by the Riverhawks of Northeastern State here at the NSU Events Center in Tahlequah. The women lose 66-62, and the men, in a stunner, fall to Northeastern State 75-66. Let's start with the women's game from today. This was a game that Washburn controlled almost entirely until the very end. Washburn led for over 36 minutes of this game. Exactly 90% of the contest, in fact, Washburn had the lead, but Northeastern State just a little bit too much at the end. Both teams went cold from the floor, but it was Northeastern State that made just enough plays, while Washburn just could not buy enough buckets at the very end of the game. A few really impressive individual performances by Washburn in the women's tilt today. A couple of career highs, both in terms of points and rebounds, by two players who have had to step up due to the injury to Bari Widata, Nia McKenzie, as well as Liz Boyd, both fantastic in this game. They each had 12 points and 8 rebounds, tying for the team high, and again, career highs in both points and rebounds. Nia McKenzie specifically, want to make sure we touch on her. She had barely been playing for weeks and weeks, months at least, at this point, but she gets the start today. Coach Laura Wessling wanted to mix things up a little bit, add a little bit of a spark to this team. She gets the start, and she goes out there and played an absolutely fantastic game, 5 of 6 from the floor. A really impressive outing on both ends for Nia there, and a shout out to Liz too. Aubrey Dewey also ended up with 11 points and 10 rebounds in the game. So lower scoring than normal, but she does go for a double-double in the contest. Washburn shoots just over 35% overall in this one, 32%, just under 32% from three-point range. Meanwhile, Northeastern State, they shot 40% from the floor. They got to the free throw line. Washburn did 25 free throws, 68% shooting for Northeastern State at the line today. Washburn got there just 12 times, made 9 of them, 75%. And again, Washburn with that big lead. They led by as many as 14 points, led by a dozen in each half a couple of times, but still just not able to pull it out. So that is now 4 losses in a row for the ICHABODS and 7 of their last 8, heading into a big matchup with Missouri Western coming up back home at Lee Arena coming up on Wednesday. We'll get to that a little bit later on. First, let's touch on the men's game from today as well, and a game that frankly Washburn just didn't really have its footing throughout the entirety of the contest. Northeastern State got out. They were shooting lights out. They went into the not third quarter, the second half, but the early part of the second half, they went into that portion of the game shooting 70+% from the floor. It was an unbelievable shooting day for Northeastern. Now, they did cool off substantially toward the end of the game, still ended up shooting 54% overall. Washburn, as Brett Ballard described it to me during our post-game show just a few minutes ago on Country 106.9, said his team was a step slow, wasn't prepared enough for this game. That's a big reason why Northeastern State was able to fill it up like they did. For Washburn, I mean, not horrible offensive numbers overall, just 8 of 12 at the free throw line, 44% shooting from the floor, 6 of 23, 26.1% from 3, the exact same percentage as the win in overtime over Rogers State this past Thursday over in Claremore, about an hour west of where we are in Tahlequah. Brady Christensen, he goes for 15 and 10, his second double-double in the last 3 games for this Washburn team. He was really impressive. Jarmel Johnson and Jack Batchelor go for 11 and 10 points respectively to round out the ICHABODS, who got into double figures. I thought Jarmel in the first half especially played really well in this game. One of the big issues, and not the only one, because again, your opponents shoot 54% from the floor, 47% from 3, despite being the 5th worst three-point shooting team in the conference. It's always going to be hard to win. But Andrew Orr, a very uncharacteristic day for AO, has been playing stellar basketball over the last couple of games. Today, though, got in early foul trouble, goes just 1 for 6 from the floor, ends up with 2 points, fouls out of the game. One of those things you just flush away, but obviously hurt the ICHABODS in this game today. Northeastern State got 5 players into double figures. They only played 7 in the game, and all of them scored 5 or more points. 5 of them got into double figures, led by 17 points from Case and Hartloff. And if you want to talk about the kind of course, when it rains, it pours kind of games, he had not even played in the last 4 games, then comes out and pours in 17 on 6 of 10 shooting with 3 3-pointers in this game today. So the Washburn women, they fall now on the season to 11 and 10 overall. They are 6 and 9 in the MIAA. The Washburn men with their loss are 14 and 7 overall, and the Ichabod men are now 10 and 5 in the MIAA. That's still good for third in the MIAA standings with the other results that have transpired here on Saturday afternoon. But with that, we now now get ready for finally, after 2 long weeks on the road, returning home. And this Washburn team will be back home at Lee Arena coming up on Wednesday for a massive homestand. Missouri Western on Wednesday, Northwest Missouri State on Saturday. We're looking forward to that. Our broadcast start time will begin at 5:15 Wednesday late afternoon, and then game 1 will tip off at 5:30. Game 2 will tip off approximately 25 minutes after the first game comes to a close. And coming up on 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW this week, we'll have some tickets to give away. So if you want to come out and support the ICHABODS, come support the women as they continue their push to make it to the MIAA tournament, and support the men as they continue to climb up the ladder in the MIAA. Listen to 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. We will have some Washburn tickets to give away to you coming up this week. But again, to wrap things up from Tahlequah, it is a sweep at the hands of Northeastern State for the Washburn ICHABODS. Washburn falls in our women's game 66-62, and in the men's game, ICHABODS lose 75-66. We will talk to you again coming up on Wednesday from Lee Arena. Until then, we thank you for listening to ICHABODS.